Picture this. You wake up in the morning, glance at your phone, grab a coffee, and open an app. In those 3 minutes, 4 systems have already played you. Not because you're not smart enough, but because these systems were built by some of the sharpest psychologists on the planet. For you, in theory, but in practice, against you. In this first episode of the series, I will walk you through 10 of them with one promise. After this episode, most of you will never look at your everyday life the same way again. Hello and welcome, fellow strategists. Have you ever wondered why you just can't put your phone down, even though part of you knows you should? Why you always leave the supermarket with more than was on your list? Why you still haven't cancelled that subscription you haven't used in months? That's not a willpower problem, but rather of it being systematically drained from you. This because billions of euros and the brightest minds of entire generations have been poured into systems designed to make sure you don't. Today, we are looking at the first 10 of these everyday systems, the relatively harmless ones, one might say. Stay until the end. Number 1 is the trick that even experts almost never escape, because it's just too convenient. And always remember, complacency kills security. Number 10. The mall maze. You walk into a shopping center because you need toothpaste. 45 minutes later, you're at the checkout with toothpaste and crisps and chocolate and maybe a new jacket or some practical little gadget you definitely didn't come in for and are probably wondering, how did this happen? The answer? You were never just in a building. You were inside a psychological experiment, or rather, in the result of many. Shopping centers are often jointly designed by architects and behavioral psychologists in collaboration. Every curve, every smell, every light source can be calculated. The fact that there are open food stalls everywhere, filling the air with irresistible smells that make your mouth water, one of the more obvious moves, admittedly. The corridors bend just enough that you can never see the exit, and can never easily find your way back. Escalators are never where you would expect them, and the grocery section naturally is always furthest from the entrance. Because hungry people walk faster and buy less. So you need to be slowed down first. Only then you do start buying. Convenient then that on the way back you're full, relaxed, and you have already passed everything once. Once you lose your bearings, something shifts in your brain. You stop walking with a destination and you start drifting. Scientists call this retail-induced trance. The principle is called the Gruen transfer, named after Victor Gruen, who originally conceived the shopping center as a community space for human connection. Retailers turned this blueprint into a multi-layered trap. Gruen, not unlike the researcher who first wrote about the alpha wolf, spent the rest of his life trying to distance himself from what he had created. Number 9. The empty space trick. Quick question. Why do you statistically buy more when shopping cart you're using is bigger? Because your brain reads empty space as a problem, and problems need solving. Sylvan Goldman invented the shopping cart in 1938. It was relatively small, and Goldman noticed customers had this annoying habit of stopping shopping the moment their cart was full. So he tried making them bigger. Et voila, customers immediately bought more. Not because they needed more, but because the cart still looked empty, which is why since the 1970s, the average cart size has more than doubled. In a controlled experiment, customers with double-sized carts bought 40% more with zero prompting. Some modern carts are also slightly angled, so items slide forward and the back always looks empty. That's not coincidence, but physics in the service of psychology. A psychology designed to drain your mental energy and your wallet. But even worse, when Goldman first introduced carts, customers refused to use them. They found it embarrassing, like admitting they couldn't carry their own groceries. So Goldman hired actors to happily push carts through the store. Once real customers saw others doing it, the cart became normal. So he didn't just invent the cart and made you buy more. He ran a full social engineering operation just to get your grandparents to use it in the first place. Number 8. Why your phone feels fast even when it isn't. Next time you open an app on your phone, pay close attention to how it feels. A brief moment of loading, then done. Felt fast, didn't it? This is not coincidence, but rather choreography to manipulate you. Apple, Google, and every major app developer deliberately program their loading animations the same way. Start slow, finish fast. Researchers found that the progress bar at speed up toward the end feels faster, even if it takes exactly as long as one that moves at a steady pace. Your brain reads accelerating as almost there, which then triggers a small hit of relief. Early Windows was honest, and people hated it. Microsoft then switched to smooth, fabricated progress bars, and complaints dropped immediately. Houston Airport had the same problem. Too many complaints about baggage waiting times. The solution wasn't to get the bags there faster. The solution was to make passengers walk further, so they spent most of the wait time moving. Same total time, far less frustration. And flight booking sites? Don't get me started. They already have your results the moment you finish typing. The search is done. They still show you a spinning wheel for 3 seconds. Because slow means effort, and effort means trustworthy. Number 7. The algorithm that knows exactly how desperate you are. You search for flights to Barcelona. 310 euros. Okay, I will book tomorrow. You come back the next day, 389 euros. You changed nothing. The price did very much, because you looked at it. Airlines and booking platforms track every click, how long you hover over a price, how many times you come back, which device you are on, which city you are in. The algorithm builds a profile of you in real time. Its one and only goal: figure out the maximum you're willing to pay. It is like a poker player reading your face. Except the poker player is an AI that never sleeps and never gets it wrong. 2 colleagues fly to Madrid together. Same flight, same class, same seats. One paid 195, the other paid 640. The algorithm correctly worked out who needed it more. What can you do? Incognito mode, VPN, different device, different location. You have to disguise yourself as a stranger, because the moment the system recognizes you, the experiment begins. On this we will come back in videos on the propaganda technique flooding the zone, which literally happened regarding some very well-known PDFs, and in an how-to video on how you can poison your own footprint. Number 6. Netflix knows exactly when your willpower breaks. Netflix didn't introduce autoplay because it is convenient, but because A/B tests on millions of users revealed something precise. There's a moment when your resolve gives out, and an episode ends. There's a short window, maybe 8 seconds, where you could stop. The autoplay countdown therefore is deliberately shorter than this window. This is so you definitely don't have any time to decide, but rather so you feel like you decided. Netflix tested different countdown lengths on different user groups to find the optimal one, the one that keeps the most people watching, which is now baked into every individual interface. You think you're choosing what to watch, but you're choosing from a menu that was engineered to make switching off feel like nearly impossible. Netflix's internal goal, which surfaced in a lawsuit, was to actually compete with sleep. Compete with sleep. Let that sink in for a moment. That's a direct quote from an internal document. So the next time you're watching just one more episode at midnight, remember that corporate goal, which is right up there with Nestle executive who once declared that water isn't a human right. Number 5. The screen that shames. You order some elaborate coffee drink, the kind that comes with a name longer than some job descriptions. 450. The barista flips the iPad screen towards you. 20%, 25%, 30%. And then at the bottom, tiny, grayed out, almost invisible, no tip. That button is deliberately designed to look like the wrong answer on a test. You're standing there, card in hand, someone behind you in the queue. The barista is watching. Your brain doesn't have time to think. It's socially overwhelmed. You hit the 20%. Some systems even use first-person phrasing, like, I don't want to leave a tip. You have to narrate your own perceived cheapness out loud. One widely used system sets the default at 25%. When you then slide it down to 15%, your brain feels like it got a discount, but you still just tipped 15% on a coffee you picked up yourself. Studies show these screens increase tipping rates by up to 38% compared to a traditional tip jar. The payment processors who built this guild machine, they take a cut of every tip. They engineered your social discomfort and then monetized it. Number 4. The roach motel. Sign up, 45 seconds. Cancel, 45 minutes. Minimum. That's what insiders call a roach motel. Easy to check in, nearly impossible to check out. Spotify, Amazon, streaming platforms, fitness apps, they all have dedicated teams whose sole job is to make canceling harder for you. Not impossible, just hard enough so that you give up. Their calculation: the monthly $9.99 costs you less mental energy than 20 minutes of menu diving. So you keep paying. You click cancel subscription, and suddenly you're 3 pages deep in a quiz about why you're leaving, followed by a discount offer, followed by, are you really sure? Amazon Prime reportedly called the cancellation process Iliad Flow internally, named after Homer's Iliad, in which Odysseus spent decades trying to fight his way home to Ithaca. Due to current events, forget that movie. Watch 2004's Troy with Brad Pitt and Legolas instead. Canceling was supposed to feel as long and painful as the Trojan War, which is why the FTC sued Amazon over it in 2023. The average person has at least 3 to 4 active subscriptions they've completely forgotten about. Every month, quietly, invisibly, some minor sums disappear, which then keep mounting. Check your bank statements tonight. I'm confident most of you will find something. Number 3. Skinner, rats, and your phone. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered something deeply unsettling. Rats that pressed a lever and occasionally received food, sometimes, but not always, pressed that lever obsessively. Far more than rats that received food every single time. The uncertainty was the engine. Now look at your phone. Your post might get likes. Maybe it won't. You don't know. You press the lever. Every app also has a progress bar. A ring that's almost closed. A streak that must not be broken. That's the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain obsesses over unfinished things. The ring is left open on purpose. One study found that runners who used fitness apps enjoyed running less than when they weren't being tracked anymore. So, the app hadn't built a habit, it had built a dependency. In some Amazon warehouses, employee productivity scores are displayed on screens in real time. The system automatically flags the weakest performers without any human in the loop. The rats now know that they are being watched, and that the game is playing them. Number 2, it's not your microphone. It's worse. You're sitting with a friend at a cafe. He says, "Hey, I need some new running shoes." You haven't searched for anything. You haven't said a word. Next morning, running shoe ads everywhere on your feed. 90% of people think the microphone is listening. The truth is stranger and more unsettling. Your phone knows where you are, down to the meter. It also knows which other devices regularly spend time near you. When your friend searched for shoes, your device was automatically flagged alongside his search profile. Not because you searched, but because you were physically nearby. This is called proximity-based ad targeting. Advertisers build a social graph, a digital map of your relationships based on physical proximity. They bet whoever spends time with someone shares their interests, or soon will. Researchers at Northeastern University put this to the test. 2 phones, one searched for products, the other just sat next to it. The second phone started receiving ads for those same products. No microphone, no search history, just proximity. You're just living your life, and an algorithm is taking notes. Number 1. The file that knows your life. That little card you scan at the supermarket checkout, it's not really a loyalty program. It's a data collection program that occasionally hands you a discount. Every purchase, date, time, frequency, product combinations. They know you switched to organic food for 3 weeks, then quietly went back to your old ways. They watched that entire arc play out. The intention, the slip, the return to old habits. No judgment. They just documented it, categorized it, and filed it away. The most famous case? Target USA. The algorithm noticed an unusual purchasing pattern in a young woman. Unscented lotion, larger packs of cotton wool, folic acid supplements. The system connected the dots, and then sent coupons for baby items to her home address. Her father opened the ledger and immediately called Target. Furious, as you can imagine. A few days later, though, he called back to apologize. His daughter was indeed pregnant, and their grocery company had known before they did. Your loyalty card data maps your stress cycles, your health decisions, major life changes. This data is then sold to insurers, credit agencies, and data brokers. You hand it over the most intimate details of your life for €0.50 off of cereal. What we have looked at today isn't conspiracy theory, it's conspiracy practice. It's design, paid for, tested, and optimized. Every single one of these systems was built by teams of psychologists, behavioral economists, data analysts, and engineers. All this with one goal: to predict your behavior and then to learn to steer it. But the good news, awareness changes everything. What you can see coming is a lot harder to use against you, and you are already harder to manipulate than you were 10 minutes ago. Please drop a comment. Which of these 10 systems surprised you the most? And which one did you run into yourself this week already? If you want more analysis and practical takeaways like this, subscribe and hit the bell. This series will keep pulling back the curtain on the systems shaping your everyday life. Thank you for your attention. This concludes my elaborations. Stay aware. Take care.